Hello everyone, this is your instructor Haider Al-Mansury. Today I'm going to talk about Chapter 2. Chapter 2 deals with the exploration of teaching. It is a little bit long, therefore I'm going to break it down into smaller parts, smaller presentations. If you remember from the previous presentation on Chapter 1, we agreed that uh, it is the teacher's responsibility to develop their own teaching skills. Therefore, it is very important to know the way with which you could develop your own skills as a teacher. Now, there are various ways you teachers could adopt to explore the process of teaching. Um, the author listed a good list of ways to explore teaching. For example, you could read journals and articles and books about teaching and learning. You could read narratives written by other teachers on teaching. Also, and this is very important, attending professional conferences. Um, you could also establish a mentoring relationship. You could create a portfolio of teaching. You could learn another language. You could do action research. There is observation, that is the observation of others doing teaching or observing you yourself. You could discuss teaching and teaching principles with other teachers, and you also can keep a teacher journal. Now, the first, I would say, easy way to start with is that you read specialized publications to develop your own insights, your own um, ways and methods on teaching. Here, I provided few examples for publications that could help you with learning about the teaching process and teaching profession in general. The first one, this is a book, Methodology in Language Teaching, an anthology of current practice. This is a good one to start with. Also, there is Teacher's Narrative Inquiry as a Professional Development. The third one is Teaching in Action, Case Studies from Second Language Classrooms. Also, this is very interesting, Narrative Their Lives Examining English Language Teachers, Professional Identities Within the Classroom. And this is um, a part of a book teaching the expanding universe of Englishes. This was written by my one of professors, Dr. Leslie Barrett. Also, you could add to these books. There is the book of intelligibility in world Englishes. Read on the teaching process, and as I told you, this is a small list to start with. Also, if you want to develop or to explore the teaching process and the teaching profession, it would be a good idea to attend professional conferences, to be a member of a professional association. And in our profession, in our game, there are very important associations that could, being a member of those associations could help us to explore the process of teaching and put us on the right path to be professional in teaching in general. The first one is the IATFL, IATFL, I would say. Um, this is the International Association of Teachers of English as a Foreign Language. Here is a link. You could check it out. Or you could check out for time of conferences. Uh, they provide very helpful resources to develop uh, your profession in teaching, to learn about the language, to learn about the conferences that they hold in various times of the year. There is another important association, that is the American Association of Applied Linguistics, AAAL. This is very, very professional and highly specialized association. And again, you could join this association. You can be a member. You can check their website, check for resources, check for time of conferences. Um, Another one is the TESOL International Association. This is very, very important and very famous association for teachers of English around the world. Again, if you can visit their website, learn about the conferences that they hold, learn about the publications, and even you can join the association and be a member. So again, this was another way with which you can explore teaching, with which you can work on your own development as a teacher, of course. Also, there are extra methods, extra ways with which you can explore teaching. And as I stated earlier, uh, I'm going to talk about these ways, like I'm going to talk about each method, each way separately, but here you can have a general look on these ways combined. Um, as you can see, one of the ways that with which you can explore teaching is to start a mentoring relationship. Well, what do I mean by mentoring relationship? Mentoring is to find another teacher to mentor you, to guide you through the teaching process. Um, it could be a colleague, it could be a friend, it could be a professor, it could be a teacher. However, it should be a mentor. And with that person, you can establish an interpersonal, ongoing, situated, and supportive and informative a professional relationship. Uh, this is very important. So it is, again, if you consider mentoring relation, it is an interpersonal, ongoing, situated, supportive, and informative professional relationship. Again, between you as a trainer and another person who could be, again, like experienced teacher or professor or a colleague with considerable experience. Uh, so again, this is one of the very, very useful ways with which you can explore teaching. You can learn about the craft. You can learn about different skills of teaching from your mentor. Also, another way with which you can explore teaching is observation. Now, observation could be of two types. There is self-observation, in which you observe yourself, the way, like observe the way you teach, or you could observe um, someone else teaching their classes. And in the next presentation, I will talk about the observation process in more details. Here's another way to explore teaching is to talk to other teachers, to talk to other professionals, and also And when I say to talk, I mean that you have a professional, scientific uh, discussions. And it would be very helpful if you keep a teaching journal. That is very, very helpful too. And it is one of the um, essential ways with which you can explore your own teaching. To explore teaching, you can put together a teaching portfolio. Now, a teaching portfolio is very important way to explore and develop your teaching. Um, simply, um, teaching portfolio means that you put together papers that you wrote for courses or someone else wrote for certain courses. You could, in that teaching portfolio, you could also put a class presentations, your own class presentations, professional conference presentations, original teaching materials, reflective journal entries, video or audio tapes of teaching. You could also include reflective observation reports, syllabi, letters of recommendation, reports on observation by others, evaluation report, vitae, and statement of teaching and learning philosophy. So you could include all of these in your teaching portfolio. And again, it's a good way for providing a bigger picture for your own development as a teacher. And as I told you, we will talk about this in more details in future presentations. One of the very important ways to explore teaching is to learn a language. Now, in our case, we are ready learners of English, so this could really help because learning a language could help in teaching the language itself. Because I mean, to be a teacher, you should um, have a good idea about the learning process itself, and and to do that, it would be very plausible to learn a new language. And of course, there is more than one benefit to learn a language. So and you learn a language as a way to explore teaching. One of these benefits is we can better understand the challenges that learners face. This is very important. Also, if you learn a language, you can gain more insights into understanding language in general. Uh, Also, when you learn a language and you are assuming the role of learner, you can gain insight into ways of teaching that seem to work and don't work, at least within our language learning setting. So, as I told you, when you assume the role of learner, when you learn our language, then you are a learner. So you could learn from experience what could work for your students and what couldn't work for them. Um, so it would be helpful. You know the advantages and the disadvantages with the ways that already being utilized by different teachers. Also, in order to explore teaching further, you can carry out action research. Now, action research is what uh, teachers do in classes, and it is all about problem posing, and then try to find a solution for that problem. Um, and to have a good idea about the action research, you could read professional publications. You could start with Action Research for Language Teachers by Michael Wallace. And there's another one, Case Studies in Action Research. These are good publications to start with. Again, to conclude this presentation, so there are various ways with which you can explore teaching, and as a teacher responsible for their own development, so at least you need to know all of these ways. At least you have to know them. You have to know them, and you should start with one of them at least. That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and please, if you have any questions, let me know.